T-Pain doubles down on his catalog decision. You know, he talked about selling his catalog. I think it was for 100
million.
Yeah, 100 of them things. So he recently argued that artists don't truly know what a stream is worth because streaming platforms can change payout structures over time. Now, here's a video. I believe this was I found it on Instagram. He might have been on his TikTok stream where he was talking about this. I got a couple questions afterwards, but he makes a good point. So let's watch this. We'll discuss.
Let me tell you something. In 2015, streaming started. When streaming started, nobody told us or nobody came to any artist and said, hey, we're about to put your shit on streaming platforms. How much do you want your music to cost? Suddenly, out of nowhere and without anybody's consent, all of our music went from $1 a song to 0.003 cents per play. Nobody asked us shit. Now imagine that gets lower and lower as life goes on. My catalog is worth less and less and less and less without any kind of consent from me, without anybody asking me if that's what I want to charge for my music. You think I want to leave that to my kids? Out of all this shit that I've told y'all that have happened to me in this fucking industry, you think I'm leaving my kids' life and their future in the hands of the music industry? You got me fucked up. I gotta figure something out. I'm not leaving my kids' future in the hands of the music industry at fucking all. I know exactly what I want. I know exactly how much I want right now. I know exactly what I would need to live out the rest of my life. And if I get that and I'm satisfied with that and I'm content, I'm not looking for more.
So he makes some valid points.
What's the question?
So the first question I would pose is, so have streaming services gained too much control over what music is actually worth? Why or why not?
Yes, they have.
You're saying they have?
They have, and largely because they're in bed with, especially not Tidal, but Spotify, maybe Tidal too. They're in
all streaming platforms
with the record companies. Like, and so like why would look, man? I remember that time before streaming hit.
Yeah.
Say like one of the things that actually made sense to me is after the whole Napster thing, where all of a sudden it was the Wild Wild West and people were just stealing music, and then all of a sudden Apple Music comes along. It wasn't even called Apple; it was something else, iTunes, and then Amazon had its version of it, to where, okay, we're going to make it easier for you to buy something than to steal it. And so, like, I wound up on a lot of times, if I needed a song, maybe it was for a wedding or I just needed for a play, something I was trying to put together personally, instead of trying to find a way to steal it, okay, I'll pay the 99 cents. So I had got conditioned to that.
You knew he was going to get a good version.
Exactly. I didn't have to worry about all of a sudden, someone yelled, "You shout to Don Juan DeMarco," and all of a sudden it'd be
real
like,
trap shit.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's lightning and bombs being dropped on the song. I'm just trying to put on a playlist for myself. So when they switch from that to doing what he said, as far as like, okay, you don't have to sign any additional contracts. You don't have to do anything. We're just going to do this without your permission. I'm never upset when artists like T-Pain said, no, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to monetize my catalog for a lump sum of money, because leaving it up to the record industry, they're going to find some way to pay me less and less just because they can. And so, like, shout out to T-Pain. I appreciate what he said here, and I completely understand. I know there's some people who are like, no, I'm going to hold out for more, this, that, and the third, and it's about ownership. And I understand that that prospect as well. But when you see what they did, as opposed to when they kind of put the horse back in the barn as best as they could, as far as saying, okay, you don't have to go to these random sites. You don't have to go to LimeWire and potentially destroy your family computer to find this one song. We'll go ahead and sell it to you for 99 cents. Or some of them were actually selling for like $1.29. I remember that as well. And then they said, oh, it's a all you can eat buffet for $12 a month, and we'll just pay them, like I said, fractional shares of their art. I don't get mad at people like T-Pain who was like, no, I'm going to cash out now before you find another way to screw me over.
Yeah, he actually put it in perspective, because like a lot of times when these artists are selling their catalogs, it's kind of like, why would you do that? Because I mean, you can license it, you can do this, you can do that with it. I mean, we've seen it happen with artists endless amounts of time. But when he puts it in perspective of it's only going to get worse. So like right now, they're giving us this amount of money per song, per stream, and they're changing it all the time. And I know that I can get $100 million from my catalog right now. And it's not like he's not going to still get paid for performing those songs and things of that nature, whatever he lends his name to. He's getting a lump sum of $100 million because I don't know what the music industry is going to do. And he's fortunate enough to at least been able to have ate off of being able to sell a song for $1, selling ringtones and things of that nature. Because a lot of artists were eating very well, even with the streaming situation with Napster and things of that nature. They found other ways to make money. But even in some of those contracts, the record label were getting that money from those ringtones and things of that nature. But that's a whole nother conversation. But with not knowing what the industry is going to become and not having ownership of your songs to a point where you're only getting fractions of a penny, I mean, that made good business sense to me for him to do that. And like I said, it puts a lot of this in perspective as far as why artists do it. But it's not like he's just not working anymore. He's still doing his thing.
I think one thing that stood out to me about this T-Pain clip was, you know, we selected a portion of it, but there's another portion where he talks about they will also have to, you know, come to him if he starts a TV show, if he starts a this or he starts a that. But it's more of a partnership. It's not like they're just taking all the money if he comes up with anything that's creative or, you know, he tries to do anything. He looked at it as a partnership. It's like, yeah, since I sold you my catalog, we're going to have to split it, but it's still a partnership.
And he still has some say-so.
Exactly. So he's still going to have say-so over, you know, what his creations are, what he chooses to do. I don't think that deal is bad in hindsight, because if you're going to give me $100 million and I'm in my late 40s, plus I still got creative control through some of my ideas, it just might be chopped down a little more than it was. I mean, I'm looking at it from what he said and with his kids and how things evolve and change. I'm not mad at him.
$100 million is
that's
not
a lot of
shoddy amount of money.
That's a lot of money, bro.
Like, it's a lot of people that'll sit in these chairs like we are and talk about you shouldn't have took that money.
Minus taxes.
I mean,
still.
Yeah.
After
$100 million, that's a lot
that's
of
a
money.
lot of money.
And to be T-Pain again, he's still in a good position where he can still win in the business.
Yeah.
And continue to do his thing, and he has that money already to where he doesn't have to worry about, you know what I'm saying, getting screwed over later down the line from streaming numbers.
This is the first person that, honestly, hearing him, it's the first person that has actually broken it down where I can look at it and say, okay, this makes sense as to why you sold your catalog. Now, through the past, we've had, then we coming up on damn near 500 episodes. We've talked about, you know, artists that have sold their catalogs in the past or whatever, and what we potentially thought it may have been and all that type of stuff. This is the first time I saw somebody come out and be like, this is my actual thought process. And I can sit back and look at it and say, yeah, that makes sense.
To me, it just depends on what the deal looks like.
True.
And that's something, you know, the only thing that I could see about his deal, because a lot of it's not public, is just the fact that they work together on it. And I don't know what that means. You know, and so at that point, that's really all I can comment on. So, I mean, if it works for him, cool. I don't like the idea of somebody else owning somebody else's catalog, though. So,
just overall, I got you. That's fair. I respect that. Let's go to
yeah, because even with record labels and things of that nature, there is a yearly clause, like we own it for this amount of years, and then it reverts back to the artist.
Yeah,
I understand that, but again, the record business being a revolving door as far as rewriting rules and things of that nature.
No, for sure.
And being an artist involved in it, I can understand why.
I think those are good. I think he makes a really good point about you can't trust the music industry. You can't. Absolutely. So if this is his way, like, I'm just bowing out of it, then
yeah.
All right.
I wanted to pose a question. I want everybody to look at it from an artist standpoint. Would you rather own your catalog forever with unpredictable income, or sell it for life-changing money while its value is at its peak.
It's easy for me.
That's easy for you? What you got, Lone?
I'm not selling it.
Okay.
Why would I sell it?
I knew you was going to say that. I knew you was going to say that.
No, no, it's mine. I made it. I have ownership equity, sweat equity, all those things in it.
Mm-hmm.
If it makes money or if it doesn't, that's cool.
Can I ask you a follow-up?
Sure.
So that's your, I'm looking, we're doing this real time. That's your answer now.
Mm-hmm.
As you get older.
Doesn't matter.
That's what I was about to ask. It doesn't change your opinion.
No.
Okay, so you're saying if I pass away, we're going to keep it to the family, everybody else go with it, and then they can choose to do whatever they want to do with it.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I respect it. I respect it.
I'm somebody who also is not ingrained into the music industry like that intentionally.
I got
from
you.
one perspective, like even in the stuff that I say, like I'm not signed to any labels.
True.
I own everything that I own, and a lot of that is intentional. I don't go out of my way to pursue those things. I've never gone out of my way to pursue those things, even placements. I'm not really interested in that for the most, in general, so.
Since I've known you, that's real.
I'm just, even though maybe it doesn't matter in the long run, I care more about legacy than I do, legacy from an artistic standpoint than as opposed to legacy from build a generational wealth standpoint in that particular type of way. I mean, I'm also somebody who I don't even fully agree with passing wealth down to children like that.
That's
so
a whole nother
that's a whole nother
we can go a whole nother way on that one.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation that I don't think is important right now. But yeah, I'm keeping mine and I'm okay with it.
Okay.
No, I can dig that.
What you think?
Me personally, I would probably, if I was in that position, I would figure out a way to retain some of the ownership.
Okay.
Yeah.
But as far as like setting everybody up or setting myself up essentially, and knowing that the music business is not in my best interest as far as the profits that are going to come from my hard work, I would definitely sell. And in that selling would try to have like
still
some kind of ownership.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that doesn't mean that you stop working either.
That's the other part.
So then you start a whole nother set of music that essentially can either belong to you or you could sell again, essentially. So
yeah, the only way that I do that is if I operate under a moniker or I operate within a system to where like it is not representative of the legacy that I have. So if I'm working for a company and I'm making a whole bunch of video game music for stupid fucking video games that make a ton of money and they want to buy me out to ownership of that stuff, sure, I'll take it that way. But if anything that I care about, nah.
So because that wouldn't be related to your point, what you actually care about. Like,
exactly.
That hard work.
Yeah.
As long as those two don't intertwine, you're good with the collaboration and do
Absolutely.
whatever. Okay, that's fair.
And then too, you got to add in that it's good to even be in that position.
Yeah.
Because Prince, unfortunately, had a situation to where he couldn't even call himself Prince for a while.
Yeah.
Based on the ownership of his name and his music.
Yeah.
And eventually that was resolved and things of that nature. But I mean, we've seen it happen with Mike. We've seen it happen with Prince. And those are just two big names that it happened to. It happens to a lot of these artists in the music
biggest
business.
names.
Yeah.
And so
Like the biggest.
So
Yeah.
it's like, wait a minute, I don't own my name, image, and likeness. And it's like, well, did you read your contract?
Jay, I want you in the chair as well as a creative. Which direction are you going in terms of like we were talking about with the income and unpredictable income versus selling your catalog and making sure the fam is straight?
I don't have children that I'm worried about.
Okay.
So
we in the same boat.
I would almost.
All right, Oprah.
Yeah.
Don't do
so
that.
like that creates a different mindset for me as far as what I want to do. But also, if somebody is willing to say, I have something that I really want to do, and I am done in this certain sphere of creation,
Right.
and I have something, and I know that the capital that is gained from me selling this part of my catalog, and I still have a level of control.
Yeah.
And if what I have created, I can also know I have the ability to create something else.
Yeah.
To set myself up for another big sale, then I could see myself doing that.
So
because okay, they buy T-Pain's catalog up to, but then like, what if T-Pain has a second renaissance of music,
No, for sure.
And then he owns that, and then somebody's like, okay, next time around, it's 350. So I mean, those are the things.
But
that
think if he has another renaissance and he does, and simultaneously his back catalog blows up as well.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's. But those are the things you have to think about.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But then you got to think about those numbers attached to the back catalog. That,
but also
the reason why he sold it in the first place.
Sure.
But also to some people, you know, depending on what you've already been through. I mean, you know, T-Pain has talked about his financial struggles and the things where he might spend too much money on jewelry and cars. Like
he had tax issues too.
You know, but if you know, okay, this is what I really need to live, and so my kids are straight, so I can make sure they have their education, and so I can go ahead and maintain the lifestyle where I'm comfortable. Like I don't need 10 yachts and a whole and a garage full of Bugattis.
See,
you know, there's some people who chase that, and so it's like, no, I'm waiting for that. It's like, no, I just need to be able to get from A to B and make sure that my family is straight.
And let's not forget that T-Pain is also a successful streamer right now.
This is true.
This man got a lot of money before we talk about this catalog, so let's be clear.
Yeah.
So, but I part of me is I'm torn, because part of me is with Lone, because when you put enough time and effort into what you've done over, you know, cumulatively, like over a course of X amount of years, you're attached to that for the rest of your
attachment
life.
To it. Yeah, I understand that.
I like that part is the part where I would be like tiptoeing, right, in the gray area.
And let's be clear, I'm extremely hard-headed.
No, it's cool.
So that definitely is part of this equation.
What I'm telling you is
we just had a hard-headed conversation.
Sure did.
We definitely did. What I'm saying is I feel you on that part. But Terry, the part that Terry talked about, because I was raised, and that's just how I was raised as it relates to a legacy standpoint, but the opposite of what Lone was talking about, because I know Lone talked about his legacy, but for me, I was taught to make sure everybody else is straight in case something happens to you. That's how I've always been raised. So that part would lean on me more, where I would kind of side with Terry, where it's like, yeah, I want to make sure everybody's straight once I'm gone, and then I can still be creative on this last portion of my career, partnership, like you talked about, Lone, and do all that. So that's where I think that's where I would lean. I would lean more towards Terry, but I totally understand what you're talking about, because those are a lot of hours, bro. That's a lot of hours. It's a lot.
I don't know. It's not, to me, it's not even really about, I mean, it is about the sweat equity to some degree, but it's also just about keeping the ownership in house and letting the people, you know, like if I pass away with my music, then it passes down to my wife or whatever, right? And she can do whatever she wants, but she has that ability to do whatever she wants with it. You know what I mean? Like, or kids or whatever. You know what I mean? But you know, this doesn't mean, like, I know we're looking at this hypothetical, you know, it's kind of a real thing because they bought his T-Pain's entire catalog, but it also doesn't mean that you can't do this one-off. Like, if I have like a handful of records that I don't care about, sure, maybe I'll sell a couple of these that, you know, maybe they're collaborations with other people, because I have a bunch of those, you know, so like, sure, and I don't have any ownership in it, right? And so, and certain things, you know, like on paper at least.
Right.
And, you know, it's not like I'm all the way in there, but when it comes down to it, like, yeah, I mean, how about we invest together in the future? How about we do that?
Because like I'm saying, bro, like the reason I mentioned both parties, because I would side with Terry in terms of his choice, but, you know, we have been, and I'm not discrediting anybody else. I'm talking about Lone and I. We have been doing this for a long time. I'm talking about, I remember when we started, we've been friends forever. And I know what we went to get to the point where we are. However y'all want to decide what that is, whatever. We don't care. It's like, we know what it is.
Sure.
But I say that to say, I know what that grind was like. So I understand when you say everything that I've built, because I'm like, yeah, he's right. I know, I saw it, so I know. Maybe I'm biased, but I actually saw it, so I know what you mean, and you saw it with me, vice versa. So maybe that's where I'm like, okay, I see where you're coming from, Lone, but
it's also
the thing about that too is,
to me, that's
it's also ideology based as well. So
and I feel exactly what y'all saying, but at the end of the day, that grind and that blood, sweat, and tears that you put into in that work, you will never get what you want for that.
No, exactly. That's fair.
And that's because there's no monetary.
You can't put a monetary. Yeah, you can't. That's fair.
And that is part of my decision, because I already know that, and I've already accepted that, and I'm okay with that, and I don't want it to.
You're never going to get what it's worth.
No, never.
That's fair.
I'm cool with that.
With that being said,
that's fair.
With that being said, so you would rather it just dissipate and
it's not going
cease to exist.
It's not going to dissipate.
Well, no,
you know
it's not going to dissipate. So what I mean as far as dissipating, as far as
I don't look at it,
the monetary value not coming to anybody that you know, love, care about, have concern for, versus being just put into the system. So the system is completely benefiting off of it because nobody took any payment for it.